he seemed totally annoyed with her. What about the fact that Teresa did say that, prove it, prove it, prove it? She denied it. But like, what is this that she's still leaking stuff to bloggers? This whole thing with John Fuda that you just were discussing, like online?
Yes. So last October of 2023, she called me and she told me, go to newspaper.com. There's an article there that Jim just found. And a lot of people are like, why didn't they just give you the article? Well, they have things that they're doing as well. They're not going. And then also, guys, they were very cautious too with specific things, whether they were going to leave a paper trail. They were sloppy, but they also had, they also had a brain. So they weren't going to leave a lot of things behind, but sometimes they got messy, sometimes they didn't. But either way, for whatever reason, Jim didn't send it to me, period. So here's Teresa on the phone with me telling me to go to newspapers.com and find this article of John and a home invasion and a robbery and some other stuff because she wanted that story out there. And this is how it works. If it's on social media, Teresa and Jennifer Aydin could talk about it on camera. And then it won't look like suspect that they're talking about something, because if they're talking about something that's not out in the press or on social media, then it's weird because it just shows that they're outright planting the narrative. But if it's on social media, then it looks organic, like, oh, hey, we were just on our phone and we saw this. So now let's talk about it. Anyway, Teresa wanted this specific article from 2008 that Jim Leonard found on newspapers.com. In this article where there was a picture of John Fuda where he's mentioned, they wanted it out there before the cast trip to the Berkshires because, again, they needed it on social media so Teresa could talk about it on camera. Well, the trip to the Berkshires ended up going kerplunk because the house burned down, so they didn't get a cast trip. But anyway, while I was trying to look, Teresa even tells me, don't look up John Fuda. You have to look up John Diatria or whatever, his name prior to Fuda. And I was like, Teresa, and I'm texting it back to her, and I was like, I can't find it. I can't find it. What Teresa didn't tell me was that I had to type in Jonathan. I was typing in John. Anyways, so I think maybe that's why I couldn't find it. But either way, I couldn't find it. She was on the phone with Jim, and he was just like, forget it. We're just going to use it at reunion. And so then comes season 14, and Teresa's doing press, and she told several people, oh, well, good thing we're not having when she found out they were not having a reunion. She's like, good thing we're not having a reunion because I was going to take an envelope and I was going to pull something out of that envelope. And she was referencing that home invasion article from 2008 with John Fuda. So the tea I have for the watch party that was just filmed this past Monday at Rails on the 15th, Teresa tries to pull the article and production, I hear, shut it down. Production was not having it, probably because of all the shit going on already with John Fuda and Teresa planning narratives. They shut it down. It didn't go according to plan. So what happened on the Twitter timeline with a specific Twitter account that works with the camp? They post the article. And so I don't think they were banking on me having that little Twitter back and that little text message with Teresa where I'm showing her and I'm telling her, Teresa, I can't find it. I even typed in the other last name. So anyway, long story short, we discussed this old article to damage John Fuda, how we wanted it on social media to use against him. We were told, scrap the idea. We're using it for reunion. She tried to use it at the makeshift watch party reunion this past week. It didn't go according to plan. So what did they do? They had a blogger in their camp push the article. And now, if you look at the Twitter timeline, and I'm sure it's all over Instagram, everyone's pushing the article per Teresa's camp. And all her little fans and all their little minions are out there working like busy bees to push this narrative against John Fuda. But I know for a fact that is coming from within the camp. So Teresa very much is still actively working with bloggers to get narratives out against her cast. And it's gross, David. She learned nothing. So Andy just asked Jen, what's the lesson here? Why even ask them, Andy? They don't give a fuck. They don't care. They're doing their own thing. And Teresa is showing us she don't care. And you know why I think she doesn't care? Because she feels untouchable. She's always said, I'm the queen of Jersey. It's the Teresa show. I'm the storyline. I'm the narrative. Everyone revolves around me. Well, no shit, it revolves around you because you're working behind the scenes with bloggers to create issues with your cast so they could fight with you so you could be the center of the conversation. But either way, she's very much involved with bloggers. She has learned zero and she's still up to no good. So, I hope Bravo sets an example here. And we're going to have to wait and find out if they do.
Right. Like she was texting you then, wanted you to put it out. No cast trip. The Berkshire's home burns down. Don't worry, we'll use it for the reunion. There is no reunion. She tried to bring it out on this little thing they just filmed. And then when they couldn't, she leaked it through this other blogger. So that all makes sense to me. It shocks me again, like the arrogance. I don't know. Is it arrogance that you were asked by Andy on national TV about working with bloggers? If I were you, I would say, holy shit, I am caught. I better keep my nose so clean because I am begging for my job in my head. I pray to God that this $2 million doesn't stop. I never want to speak to another blogger again. Wouldn't you think that? I would.
Yeah, but I think she's so in her head, and believe me, Louie and Jim Leonard gas her all day, every day. I'm sure she truly believes she's the queen. I truly believe she feels she's safe, that the show can't continue without her, that they won't let her go. But she's not really paying attention. And actually, you know what? I had somebody send me a clip of her recent podcast, and she had another blogger on her recent podcast this past week. I think she had Vicky
Yeah.
from OC on, and then the other blogger was there interviewing her, and he kept telling her like, so what are you going to do? Are you going to go work? Like, if he was like pretty much telling her, hey, if you get let go, what are your plans? Are you going to work? And she's like, oh, I'm going to go like treat myself. Like, I think she mentioned taking care of pampering herself or something. And she was talking about how she's not going to work or something like that. To me, when I saw that, David, I was like, is he telling her, not that he has insider tea that she's getting fired? I'm not saying that. But to me, I took it as that blogger was like, hey, so if you don't come back, what are your plans? And she was so in her head, like that is her fucking show. She ain't going nowhere. She was literally talking about how she took it to in another direction. Like it went over her head. It was crazy. But I just feel she feels like she's untouchable. Like they can't continue without her. So and if anything, if Bravo is listening, which I'm sure they are, and I don't mean to sound conceited, David,
No,
but
they
trust me,
are. They are. Trust
they're
me, they
listening.
are. They really
They're
are.
listening.
Yeah.
I would like to tell Bravo and Bravo PR that if you guys think Teresa Giudice has learned anything from this, here is your confirmation that she don't give a shit because she's still working with bloggers. And if you think you're going to bring her back next season and she's not going to continue to work with bloggers, you've got something else coming because she's telling you guys through this John Fuda leak that just hit this past week that she's not going to stop until you stop her.
Yes, I would think, I mean, even if she was coming back though, like even if she is coming back, which I agree with everything you're saying, I was shocked to hear